Good morning, Devils fans. It is July 20th, and we have added yet another member to our New Jersey Devils roster in Tomas Nosek on a 1-1 deal, as in 1 mil, 1 year, one way. Now, while this is similar to the Tierney signing, I do think it is fundamentally different, but I'm going to get into that a little bit more later into the video. Wanted to talk at first, what does Nosek bring to this team? So first off, he's going to be a roster guy, and the one-way deal almost guarantees that. Unless he just does not show up in camp as he has shown over a multi-year career, which would then lead us to sending him through waivers and burying him in the AHL. But typically ownership does not give out one-way deals with the intention of sending guys down. Those are always a very good indication that the plan is to have them as a roster player, whether it's going to be starter or riding pine. We'll kind of find out in the coming weeks as more news comes out in the NHL. But what does Nosek actually bring on the ice? Well, he's a very, very strong face-off guy and penalty killer. Those are probably his two main attributes for his career. He's 54.7% in the face-off dot, 55.3 over the last 3 seasons, and 59.3 last year. So while we still obviously have Mikey, who is and was a better face-off guy, Nosek is pretty cream of the crop. And this isn't like a winger who takes 1 or 2 face-offs and wins them and boosts a percentage. He was averaging, over those last 3 seasons, 9 to 10 face-offs a game. So he's definitely primarily a center, although can obviously switch over to the wing. When it comes to the penalty kill, he is analytically one of the better PKers in the league. PKing to me is a lot of systems and can change year over year quite dramatically, even if you have the same coach, just by switching a guy or two out. Or if you do switch a PKing coach and keep the same roster, it can be wildly different. So really, unless you have absolutely cemented guys and a cemented system that is going to be able to reproduce consistently over and over, you will see that teams kind of will vary for the most part. But thankfully, thanks to analytics, and for something that is as repeatable as penalty killing, you can isolate individual guys to see how they're playing, and Nosek is one of the better in the league. Again, if we're going to compare him to his likely roster spot of a 4th-line role, he is equivalent to a McLeod, better than a Bastion, but he's more of a left-wing guy, so he definitely fills that role better than, say, a Nolan Foote or like a Palat, but who doesn't really play the PK would. So if those are his 2 main roles, there's obviously a lot more to hockey other than just taking faceoffs and PKing. What does his overall 5v5 game look like? Well, he's definitely not going to play the power play, and he's not going to wow you offensively. He's going to be one of those guys that he's going to be on the ice, and you maybe don't notice him, but he does do quite a few things well as a 4th-line type player. His other main attribute, in my opinion, outside of faceoffs and penalty killing, is his transition out of the defensive zone. This probably helps him on the PK, obviously, just getting the puck up the ice and out of the defensive zone there, but he's also fantastic at it at 5v5, which is huge for our team, especially if you consider one of our biggest rivals this season is probably going to be the Carolina Hurricanes, which is a team famous for hemming you in your own zone and forcing you to be creative in ways of transitioning out. So he is a major pickup in that area, in my opinion. Is he going to be flashy over on the offensive zone? No, but he can get you to the offensive zone while starting in the defensive one. So obviously that means he will get a lot of D-zone starts. He will get a lot of penalty killing deployment. And that's really going to be the niche on this team for him. All that being said, he's not a black hole on offense. He has paced for 10 goals, 20-plus points in almost every season of his career, but he's yet to hit either of those goals, as he's yet to play a full 82-game season yet in his career. I do believe his most games was actually 2 seasons ago, where he played 75. He played 66 last season, and really he seems to play in that high 60s games played per year. And that's probably going to be about what he sees here, whether that's due to injury or just healthy scratch reasons, playing other guys. He's probably not going to be an every night lineup guy, potentially, especially so if McLeod obviously is still here filling that role for us. But he's definitely a good backup guy to have there if you assume Tierney is going to be down in the AHL. Also, he has 52 games of playoff experience. So again, just kind of bringing in a guy that's been there and done it. He plays his game there. He doesn't elevate like, say, a Palat, who has a regular season game but seems to elevate come playoffs. He's, not blowing it up offensively. He's again, face off, PKing, and D zone starts to transition you up into the offensive zone, which is really all you need out of a fourth line guy, as he does, again, he does put the puck and help put the puck in the net decently with the fourth line time on ice. So he does really all you want to ask. So then, what else does he bring to the team? He does seem to be willing to drop the gloves, especially if he disagrees with a hit on any of his teammates. But from what I can tell after watching a little bit of highlights of his fights, he's not the best fighter. He is 6'2", he's over 200 pounds, so he can definitely scrap a bit and take a punch. But he's not out here, just winning every fight or anything. So don't expect him to just come in here and drop the gloves and be hyping up the crowd and knocking a guy out. He's more so going to play that physical game, help be a blanket for some of the other guys on the team, and will go after another guy on another team if they overstep. But he is not playing that dirty type of game, although you can definitely find some highlights of him throwing elbows in the such if you think we needed that grittier sandpaper guy to get under skin. I'm not here advocating for throwing elbows at guys or anything. I'd rather you just lay a clean hit, let him know, drop the gloves if the other guy is willing, and punch him in the face. I don't need any dirty stuff on the team. But depends what your definition of dirty is, especially come playoff time when things seem to be let go quite a bit more. So we'll see. So overall, what does this mean for the roster? Well, like I mentioned at the top of the video, this is a bit different than the Tierney depth signing. Tierney got the two-way deal. Indication again, they probably see him as more of a Utica kind of guy. Tierney was more of a insurance policy and just injuries and shoring up the center depth there, where Nosek seems to is going to get ice time on the team. He's not just there as hopefully things work out. He's going to get ice, and if the McLeod situation goes south, he's going to probably be the starting fourth line center. I have seen a little bit of buzz around Devils Twitter saying they think actually this isn't a McLeod replacement. It's actually more of an indication that McLeod's going to be the third line center, Hollow moving up to Jack's wing, and Mercer sliding down to the third line. So a third line of Palat, McLeod, Mercer. I mean, I don't rule anything out with the way Lindy likes to at least experiment with the lines. I just don't see that being any sort of long-term plan at all. McLeod is basically the pinnacle of fourth line center. There's just no one better than him for that role and niche. But I think he would be above his head placement-wise in a third C role where we know Holla can succeed there. So I don't see why they would construct the roster that way. Fitzy has said he wants the best top 9 in the league, and I don't think putting McLeod up there does that. I think leaving McLeod, if he's playing on the fourth line, gives us the best top 12 roster forwards in the league. So Tierney is a very good healthy scratch situation to be paired with a Lazar because Nosek is good to pair with Lazar because they are different hands. Mikey and Bastion shoot right. Lazar is a center right winger as well, but Nosek shoots left. And so I saw people bringing up that this just gives a different look and dynamic to the face-off circle, having a right-handed guy and a left-handed guy between him and McLeod. But one of the things that made McLeod the third best face-off guy in the entire league is he actually swaps how he holds the stick depending on the circle he is in and the guy he is up against. So he actually is ambidextrous in how he takes faceoffs. So the way he shoots doesn't actually matter there. He swaps his sticks and flips it, and he'll take the faceoff from any dot, any direction against any guy. And that's what made him one of the best in the entire league last year. And I have no reason to believe he would not do that yet again. So that really covers it as the whole. If you want to say Mikey is definitely here next year, which I hope he is innocent, obviously, and I think, like I said, he is the best fourth-line center. And if we have the healthy scratches of Lazar and Nosek, that gives us a lot of good fourth-line versatility and depth from a more skilled or a heavier or injury-related. You kind of just have all three positions completely covered there. Could a guy play up into the top 9? Possibly, but you're really hoping that if somebody in the top 9 were to go down, we're probably more so bringing up, say, a Clark or another more skilled depth piece. But I could absolutely see someone like a Nolan Foote fitting a third line role. Or again, you can kind of, if somebody, let's say Holla did get injured, McLeod could bump up for a temporary 3C type spot in that situation. But that's not our ideal scenario, and obviously we're looking at this from a starting roster standpoint and the ideal. So it was a very interesting and telling signing to me. We'll really get a clearer picture on this in the coming weeks, I think, and obviously should have the full knowledge of everything come the start of training camp. So I'll have deeper thoughts on it then. We'll really get into the roster construction at that point as we work our way through training camp. But it was a good piece of news to come out. There's basically no risk here. If everything works out with our starting 12 forwards and it turns out Nosek is just extra fodder that does not need to be here, he's completely variable in the AHL. There's going to be no cap penalty on us, given it's only a $1 million contract. And but I would actually see Lazar probably going down before him. It really depends on where they see the roster at between Foote, Bastian, Holtz, even, and all of that. So I think it's a great signing. No risk, all reward. Again, he's not going to blow you away offensively, but he's not a black hole either. But he's really exactly what you could want in that fourth line position. Great PKer, amazing face-offs, and transition play out of the defensive zone. It's really what we need from that line, and that's what we got. So that's going to cover it for today's episode. I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's go Devils.